Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Training Tuesday. I'm your host, Jacklyn, and let's get started. So, I have two graded stake entries for the week. They're both running on Sunday. One of them is in the Guinness Stakes, the other is in the Nightmarish Design Stakes. So, I'm just going to do a quick look at those guys. I have already trained them this week just because I wanted to make sure that I got some training in before the health energy update yesterday. So, we'll just refresh and see what we did there. So, this horse here has had a pretty good season so far. This one's the one that's in the Guinness Stakes, so that's the second jewel of the Turf Triple Crown. I missed the first race with this one because I completely spaced out and didn't enter any stakes that week. His 2-year-old campaign was pretty dismal. He only won one race, but as a 3-year-old, he seems to really come around, winning 2 of 3 starts so far and not being off the board. So hopefully he can keep that going. Nothing super stellar out of him yet, though he is progressing in the right direction. After a quick little minor regress there, he's come back with a 126 and a 127. Still didn't quite win there, but I think he's going in the right direction. Hopefully he'll throw in a good one here. I am just jogging him running into this race. He doesn't quite have enough time for a breeze because he would need to have two since his form was pretty high already. So we just gave him a jog and hopefully he'll keep going in that the right direction of improving with each start. Next we have Tycho, and this one is coming up in the Nightmarish Design Stakes. Has had a pretty good season as well, just like the other horse. Has had a pretty decent campaign in its lifetime as well, winning 10 starts. He has raced in a grade stake before and didn't hit the board, but we'll see what he can do here. He is capable of some pretty good ratings. He ran a 131 last October. That's quite a while ago, but he has also run a 130.73 most recently, which is pretty good because he seems to be really coming back around again after the end of his 4-year-old campaign there. So he's coming off a pretty big effort on May 1st. So I was a little ambitious with this horse because he had a bunch of jogs in a row. So his um, form was super low. So I gave him a jog to bring down his IR and decided to give him 2 workouts to try and get his form back up, which we were able to get up to a 94. So the only concern with this horse now is health and energy regen between now and Sunday, but that's why I wanted to make sure I trained him yesterday, just to make sure I capitalized on as much health and energy regens as possible, rather than doing it today, because we would have been one behind, and he was already at, I think, 2019 yesterday, so didn't want to waste any time there. So 12:13 after tonight's update, which leaves me with Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's 4 days worth of updates. Worst case scenario, he's going to be 16-17, which is not ideal at all. And I might end up scratching if we're looking pretty dismal going into the weekend. Um, but if he gets a couple 20s, a couple 2-point updates in the next couple of days, then I think we'll be sitting good. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on this one and just check back on Friday um, to make sure that we're looking good, because the official race will be created on Saturday morning at about 1 in the morning, and we want to make sure that he'll be good enough before then so that we can meet the scratch deadline. All right, let's close that out. So that's it for today. I have nominated a bunch of horses already for the stakes coming up, so we're not going to walk through that this week. But as we can see, there's quite a few that are in the green. We'll see how many are in the green on Sunday because I've been getting kicked out of a lot of these lately. But we'll see how they go. This one doesn't look like it's going to make it at this point, but I think he's running in a race this week anyway, so we'll see what ends up happening if he can get some earnings. All right, let's head over to the training center. And I'll pop this up and open to 2-year-olds. Still training them a little bit differently than the others right now, but most of them are starting to race now, so I'm getting a little bit less patient uh, and a little bit more aggressive with them. So this one's breathing because 84 and 67 form an IR, so that's typical for older horse. I'm going to keep him on that same schedule, and we'll revisit there. Same with this horse, it's going to breeze, and this one's going to jog because this horse ran for 50,000 last time out and ran with a 100, so I'm not going to spend too much time trying to build up this horse's stats at this point. I've gelded this horse, and I think he is what he is, so I'm just going to jog him and throw him back in the races. So pretty light day of training today for the 2-year-olds. Skip through those. Injury risk is a little bit high on this one. but I think I'm going to enter this horse out a little bit. I don't think I have super high hopes for this one either. Another gelding that ran for 60K last time out with a 103. So breezing the ratings pretty similar along the last few. So I'm just going to look for a race that's a little bit out at the 60K mark. So we'll enter for about maybe Tuesday next week. I think that's a good day, and we'll throw the tag on for that horse. False Breath, that's the one that ran for 50. Just gonna run this horse right back again. So we're gonna find a race Friday, 50K, in for a tag, entered. And Pantano Charge looks like another one that I don't have huge hopes for because look at these ratings here, pretty high 80s, low 90s. That's higher than usual, so it's still 80s anyways. I ran this horse for 50K last time out as well, ran a 97, so we're gonna go right back into a race like that as well. I'm not really worried about injury risk for this horse, but we're gonna find the next race Saturday, and we will enter this horse and go. That's that. 2-year-olds are taken care of. So let's go to all ages and select all horses. Really light training today. So I believe I had a pretty heavy day on the weekend with some horses. So a lot of them are entered in races or recovering for their next training session. So what I've done, low form definitely gets handily. 80s gets breezing. Low form, 62 gets handily. This horse has high injury risk, so has to get a jog. And this one's 88, so we'll breeze instead of handily. And let's train. So this horse is going to need some more work, another handily workout to get out of that rut. This probably came about because of a lot of jogs in a row. So that's something that can happen is if they've jogged a lot, they'll exit one of their races with really low form, pretty high IR, and it takes a little bit of getting them back on track. So whether you take the time between the races to give them the breezes or you do kind of like what I do and react when it happens, you sort of end up spacing out their training and racing a little bit anyways because of that. Baked, let's see, allowance. A little bit of a tough go of it since becoming a 7-year-old, but we'll see what we can find for this horse. I'm going to enter out a little bit just to give that IR a chance to come down. So I think I'm going to look for Wednesday. Soft should be fair enough for this horse. So we're going to go for an allowance. I don't think she's quite up to listed stake company right now, so we'll stick with allowance. Sometimes that doesn't work out very well. I you think that the listed stake would always be tougher than the allowance because the really good horses are always going to be going for the listed stakes. But sometimes that's not the case because sometimes players might enter their really good horses in the allowance thinking the allowance is going to come up a lot easier for them. So while I'm doing the same thing, thinking I'm going to pick up an easier race, I might end up poking some listed stake horses in there as well. Plus, the horses might not fit that listed stake race that's there, so it might not even be an option for them. So they might have to go in the allowance. So lots of things can happen there. Either way, it's oftentimes very similar competition. So, but we'll see what ends up happening. This horse definitely needs a jog. I don't want to try entering out off that. I could technically enter about a week out, which would put us around. Math is not going to be my strong point right now. I think 75 form, 75 IR, which is still a little bit high. So I'm going to wait, give this horse a jog. We can bring that form up a tick and bring the IR down. This horse will need a breeze. This is the one that had the high injury risk warning. And this one I think could also benefit from a jog. Just do that last little improvement of form, drop the IR a bit, and then enter a race. So I'm going to sit on this horse too this week. So that's a pretty light and easy day of training. Got through them pretty quickly. I think it was less than 10 minutes. So thank you for joining me this week and wish you best of the luck in the races.